Hey everyone, I'm Arlo Parks. I'm a 20-year-old artist from London. I'm a poet and a musician. Had a dream, we kissed and it was all amethyst. The underpart of your eyes was violet. You hung a cigarette between your purple lips. Yeah, I discovered Zadie Smith because my dad gave me White Teeth when I was a bit younger, which is one of her first books, I think. And I was really drawn to how kind of human her writing was and how sensory it was. And then I was reading On Beauty, which is another one of her books, whilst I was writing the record. And there was something in that phrase, collapsed in sunbeams, that kind of, I don't know, it felt so bittersweet. It was that idea of kind of being completely overwhelmed by emotion. And a lot of the stories in the record take place during summer, and I've always seen the sun as kind of a healing force and a force of growth, so that's why I picked that title. So some of the authors that are really important to me include Sylvia Plath, Audre Lorde. I've also been reading a lot of memoirs, and so for example, Just Kids by Patti Smith, and I've seen The Future and I'm Not Going by Peter McGough, which is about kind of 80s downtown New York and the art scene there. Oh yeah, I've been influenced by so many different musicians. When I was younger, I was brought up on a lot of, well, my mum is French, so, you know, I was listening to like Je suis malade by Saint-Germain, I was listening to like Claude François, Daniel Balavoine and everything like that. And my mum also really loved Prince and Whitney Houston, all of that, and my dad loved jazz. But in terms of my references now, I would say, you know, everyone from Frank Ocean to Solange, Portishead, Massive Attack, Little Sims, like there are so many, it changes every day. When I was probably about 14 or 15, and I started getting guitar lessons, I started teaching myself to produce on GarageBand just from watching YouTube videos. And I was inspired to do that by a lot of really important albums coming out for me. So there was King Cruel's first album and Soko's first album and Channel Orange by Frank Ocean as well. So I decided to release music, probably I was about 16 or 17, and it was just on SoundCloud. I would just put out songs almost every day. I was just like flooding the internet with my demos. And I guess it came from that desire to help people, to connect to people, because I'd been listening to a lot of artists who were very transparent and vulnerable with their work, and it was really helping me. So I was like, you know, maybe I should try and do this for other people in some way. Now I don't really care. I put out Cola at the end, I think, of 2018, and that started kind of gaining some traction, and I started kind of getting some interest from labels. And I remember it was the day after I took the exam to get into university. I went up to their offices in North London, and we just talked about literature and books and what I was passionate about and the films that we loved, and there was something really organic about that. And I knew in my gut, I said to my manager, I was like, they're the ones. I don't care, they're the ones. I think the confidence to release music is something that took me a while to build up to, because there is something quite nerve-wracking, especially when you're putting out music that feels really personal and close to the bone. But again, I think it's the desire to help other people out. And I remember watching an interview where someone said, you know, if you write something that has the potential to bring someone else light, then it's kind of your duty to put it out. So that's what kind of drives me, but I still get nervous, for sure. Because I read mostly in English, that was immediately the thing that I gravitated towards, just because my grasp of the language in an artistic way was stronger. But writing in French has always been something that I've wanted to do, and I've got so many demos in my computer. I just need to work up the courage to share them with the world, yeah. So in terms of writing lyrics, I usually start off with a stream of consciousness, so I'll just write continuously for 10 minutes, and then I'll pick out words, phrases, sentiments that I like, and then I'll make that into a poem, and then I'll make that poem into lyrics. So it's very much just about writing off of instinct and intuition and just seeing what happens. I mean, I think when people talk about the voice of a generation, to me it seems like
I'm somehow speaking for a large group of people who are all individuals in their own way. And I'm talking about my little experience in this corner of London as myself. And I love the fact that my music resonates with people who are kind of around my age group, but I'm hesitant to be the spokesperson for anything, because I don't really know anything, I'm just writing about what I've seen. I think I find hope in my peers, I find hope in the people around me that are kind of still experimenting and pushing for change and creating really interesting art. And I feel like I'm just an optimist by nature. Like I'm just like, things will get better. Maybe when I saw Julia Jacqueline in Brixton, and just because her voice, everything about it is so like heartbreaking, heartwarming, like, and she's so witty as well. She was just like a very funny person, and I found it felt like a safe space. Like the show felt everyone was just very free and expressing themselves emotionally, and I just love her record, particularly Crushing is a big one for me. Like the most simple lyrics are always my favorite, so probably from House of Cards by Radiohead, where it's literally just like, I don't want to be your friend, I just want to be your lover, no matter how it ends, no matter how it starts. And I feel like that sentiment is so simple, and it's something that everyone can relate to.
She said I've been feeling like something inside me once.
I was listening to a lot of DJ Shadow, I was listening to a lot of like Elliott Smith and Heat Miser and all this kind of indie, relatively melancholic music. And I wanted to create this song that kind of looked at pain in a way that was unflinching and direct, but also the possibility for things getting better in the future. And again, it was very much an emotional outpouring, and we wrote it kind of in this moment where we were feeling so inspired and so excited about the record. And I was like, you know, this is the message that I want to be at the core of this record. I want it to be hopeful, and I want it to bring light to people. And I want it to raise people up when they're feeling down. I mean, when it comes to empathy, I feel like it's something that, it's kind of a superpower, but it's something that needs to be, you know, approached with a lot of balance. Because if you know, empathy without boundaries then turns into self-destruction because you're giving so much of yourself. So I think it's just about, you know, trusting yourself, and when it feels like you can't give, then don't. And when you feel able to, you know, never feel obliged to. And I think the difficult thing about empathy is that you feel a lot all the time, but if I didn't have that quality, I don't think I'd be able to write songs, so. I just want to play a show, literally one. I'm setting the bar low. I just want to get out there and play the record. That's like all I want right now.